Okay, doctors, we're going to get started. Welcome to today's program. Welcome to the buried spinal injury referrals that can be untapped in your clinic. My name is Dr. Kronk. I'm the CEO of Spinal Kinetics. I'm also the founder of Smart Injury Doctors. And what I want to do today is I've got a guest that's created a portion of a product that I want to actually talk about today. A lot of doctors today want to do more personal injury work, and this is definitely the time to do more personal injury work. Because the injury market doesn't go through any kind of a recession. It stays strong no matter what the economy is. I've done a lot of things. I've built a company that does diagnostic testing called Spinal Kinetics. I've also built an educational program. We sell an educational and a practice enhancing system that allows doctors to go out and grow their personal injury practices. That's called the Smart Injury Doctors Program. I've spent a lot of years and a lot of time actually assisting doctors with better and better ways to grow their injury practices and to produce tools. Today, I'm going to show you some tools, but I'm so excited about one of the tools because one of the tools is probably one of the most effective tools that we use. And we have it in a system, and I sell that system. It's a $6,000 system, and this is not a pitch to have you buy a $6,000 system today. It's a main component of a $6,000 system that we sell. And I'm going to show you that you can easily add to your practice today, tomorrow, absolutely without any question. So let me get started. But before I do, I'm going to mute everybody. And let's make sure I've got everybody muted. Mute all. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Let's get back to it. And share my screen. Okay. Let's get right back to it. So first of all, what we're going to focus on is the buried spinal injury referrals. There's such an untapped market. We train doctors. The size of clinic doesn't matter. I have doctors in our program that have they see 500 plus injury referrals a month. Clinics that see a couple hundred, clinics that see 100, clinics that see 50, clinics that see 10, clinics that are just starting out. They all have a buried spinal injury referral resource untapped. And I just put a cute little video in here about, when I say untapped, I mean like finding money, like when you do in your laundry. When people do their laundry.
I just did a little deep dive into my dryer and I found a dime, but also like $150. First of all, nobody told me you're ever supposed to clean this out, but there's more. Give me. Okay, so I found $137. There's got to be a joke here about money laundering, but I'm not here for it.
Okay, so everybody likes to find things that are unfound. That's what I want to talk about today. The key thing that gets untapped as a resource in your clinic is your activity that's in your clinic or your patients. Your patients are your largest resource. Now, it's your patients and your staff. That's the biggest untapped resource that you have. And most doctors don't know how to tap it. They don't know what to do with it, right? So they don't provide their patients with injury information that they can provide to others that spread through your community. Seriously spread through your community. Information that basically explains why your center is unique. Why should they use you over, if there's 60 chiropractors in your area, why should they use you? What makes you unique? And do you have the time to explain it? First, you know, but do you have the time to explain it? What is a good attorney if they need one? Now, what is a good attorney? If you're explaining to a patient what a good attorney is, guess what? That information is going to get to their attorney. That attorney may be somebody that you want to do business with. How do you get that connection? Through your patient, right? Are you educating them on how their insurance works? Do you educate them on how they can do things to improve their own recovery? Educate them on sleep, nutrition, stages of healing, hydration, about the importance of not missing appointments? Do you educate them on what supplements they can buy at any Walmart to improve their physical recovery? Do you educate them at all what they can expect with their ligament testing, or what benefits there are to having 3 times a week or 2 times a week adjustments in the stabilization process? Why do you do that? Or do they just think it's, well, once you go to the chiropractor, you have to go and go and go? Or do you actually take the time to educate them? What do you do when you do reevaluations, and what are you looking for? These are huge referral opportunities. When you explain it to them, what you're looking for and why you're looking for it, they will cognate that they have friends that have conditions that should be in your clinic. Why might they need an MRI? What are the pitfalls of MRI? What's the difference between supportive care and corrective care, and why might they need this? Instead of springing it on them at the end, why don't you nurture that communication right away? Why don't you start telling them the truth right away from day one? Right? Now, here's the thing. Here's why in our program, it's one of the biggest components of our program. It's the most misunderstood, and we've done a lot to change it in the program. But here's the thing. This is your patient, right? Your patient is going to get an impression of your clinic. It's going to get information about your clinic and what you do. Now, people are connected to people. This patient's brother may be the orthopedist in your local area that you would love to work with, but you don't even know it, right? Now, these people can be connected to what? The union boss. This is a union boss that you might want to do a presentation for to show how you can take their injured workers and get them back to work earlier. They could be attached to attorneys that you want to work with, that you can do attorney presentations, to the fireman or the head of the fire department that you can now do a presentation with. The head of a church could be associated with the local surgeon, the police officers, large employers and owners of large employers. But what information are you going to give to them that can spread out and start making all these connections and go to work while you're working, right? So a lot of doctors want to work, and they want to somehow work less. So they want to be able to take more time off. They want to get out of this 60, 70, 80, 90 hour a week work weeks, not really thriving and constantly wondering how to get by. Well, one of the biggest ways you do that is you put together a workforce that is absolutely free for you to use. And that's your patients. That's the biggest untapped resource that you have in your clinic, that when I do coaching and when I do a consulting, that's the biggest group that most doctors don't use, right? Now, what about also being able to have materials that automatically go out to, say, any attorneys that you might want to work with, or any medical doctors that you might want to work with, that explain that injuries are derangement of body parts and what the 3 main spinal injuries really are, and how you're an expert in those 3 main injuries. How does imaging work? What is the imaging timing? Remember, these people, while highly educated, are not really all that educated in spinal injuries. What the cranial-cervical junction symptoms are, how do you image them? Why is grading the severity and location of a spinal sprain important? So information about X-ray findings, how do they drive MRI referrals? What does the research say that, wow, if you have this on X-ray, you have a very high probability that you have a disc problem. But what is that research, and are you educating them on it? And how do you get access to it? And how do you automate this process? What is the difference between X-ray and digital motion X-ray? What are cranial-cervical junction injury case examples? What do they look like? Would it look like your client? Why do they need to do excessive motion testing? What does colossive marketing website materials tell attorneys about what the insurers need information-wise? And are you providing that information? But here's the key thing. Are you giving these people where you can automatically set up, say, 52 weeks of automated email sequences that explain all these key concepts, and they're all coming from you? Now, here's the question. The biggest question is, Who has the time to set all this stuff up? In my personal practice, I was busy, so I didn't have a lot of time to set all this stuff up. Now, I'm going to play one short video. This is a 4-minute video, and it's going to explain some concepts. But the biggest concept I want you to get is in this video, I just explained to you how you put a workforce that's free to work building your clinic. And when I'm done, I'm going to turn it over to Miles Boston with Cash Practice. And I'm going to show you how they graciously took all of these materials again, the doctors pay $6,000 to get involved with a program with. They took those materials and they automated them into their already existing email sequence system, their patient communication system. So I want you to watch this. This is a very quick video that explains 4 things that you do when you're building a personal injury practice. Today, any doctor can easily grow their personal injury practices with 4 basic building blocks. The first one, in today's 2022 personal injury market, you have to have something new and fresh to bring to the market. Something that really helps you to stand out and will take you out of the maze of looking like everyone else. Not sure what that is? Don't worry. It's our job to show it to you. We will show you the key to offering something unique and fresh to your personal injury market. Once you see what that is, you will want to stake out your local territory and make it all yours. Number 2, to claim your new market, you'll need to develop a team to help you. Don't worry, we show you how to easily do this. We will even show you how to tap into a big part of your team that will work for free. You might ask, how in the world do we do that? Easy. We have all the materials that you will need to start enrolling them tomorrow. Once that's done, you're ready to sail into the next step, which is step number 3, making your local area aware of your unique services through targeted marketing materials. Materials that simply explain your newfound unique superpowers to your market. So there is no confusion with your patients, with any attorneys, or with any insurers. These materials easily show what makes your services really stand out, so that everyone in the market now wants your injury services when they need them, including your local attorneys and your local medical doctors. Once you start putting these materials out in your market, the word can quickly spread in a lot of different directions. And the cool part is, anywhere you look, you'll see little or no competition. Once your market becomes aware of your new services, you will need to implement step number 4, which is to have great automated follow-up procedures to capture your marketing results. This is not that much effort once the other 3 steps are in. Once these 4 foundations are really solid, you can go high and wide quickly. Does it take a long time to learn and implement? No. What if I'm already seeing buried at work? Not a problem. We can help you climb out of that situation. It can go really quickly. Is the help expensive? No, it's not. What if I've previously been involved with other personal injury programs? It does not matter, as there's no other program like ours in the market, so there are no conflicts. No other programs out there have our approach, or all the done-for-you marketing materials we have, immediately allowing you to get your personal injury services well thought of. Our materials help put any earlier training that you've done on steroids. Nothing goes to waste. Are there testimonials of others winning with these same materials? Yes, there's lots of them. Where do I go to learn more about all of this? Go to www.smartinjurydoctors.com. Hit the Learn More button. Give us your email and follow the prompts. There you'll see an interesting video about our program. You will see lots of testimonials from your peers. Get access to lots of additional free resources. And with the simple click of a button, You can jump into Chrissy's calendar schedule to set up a Zoom call. Chrissy is our in-house genius that helps make the magic happen. She owns 5 clinics herself, and she's not a doctor. So enough with this long video already. Simply go to www.smartinjurydoctors.com and get started now. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this right now. These materials that we've created, these automated email sequences, one for an injury patient and one for the attorney, are super powerful. But the biggest problem that we had that you won't have, you will not have, was that we actually had a hard time getting doctors in my program to actually set them up. So even though we had all these materials that they could use to innovate, it was hard for them to set it up, right? Because you had to actually take the email sequences that we built and you had to put them into autoresponders. And nobody really had the time to do it. I thought it was brilliant that we built them, but nobody really had the time to do it. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. You want to be the first in the market, whether you're involved with this program or not. You want to, if you're not involved with it, you might want to find out more about it because you can be highly successful with it. But what you want to do is you want to start flooding your area with these communications. You want to start getting your attorneys these communications out right away. And you want to start getting your patients these communications out right away because of the multiplier effect it has. These materials will can permeate really quickly through your community. Now, what I'm very fortunate to have is I have Miles Bogdan with Cash Practice, and I'm going to make sure that we can share screens. And Miles, if you would actually, you should be able to open up and share your screen now. The one thing that I'm going to start with is that I got so excited. First of all, this group is one of the best groups in the country. They've been around since 2003, and they've been helping practices build with very simple solutions their cash practices. Anybody that builds cash practices has to be communication experts. They had a drip marketing program platform that they graciously, this takes a lot of hours to do. They built it in. So any provider today, we are going to be promoting this so much throughout the country. Any provider today can take all of these materials and quickly put them to work. So Miles, I can't tell you how much I'm glad to have you, that you built this stuff for us, you and your team. So I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So first of all, welcome everybody. Good to see everybody. Those of you have your cameras on. Michael, I see. Andrew, you got your camera on. Anybody else want to turn your camera? I love to talk to people face to face and get to know you and meet you. Please feel free to ask questions as well. When we do these Zoom type things, it's really great to have it be interactive versus just us, jabbering away. I'll just share, from the standpoint a little bit, some of you may know who I am, some may not. I just get a little brief background. I ran a practice called the Chiropractic Wellness Center. It doesn't sound very PI oriented, and it wasn't. Although at the very beginning of my career, I did do quite a bit of PI. For the first couple of years, I did actually a lot of PI. And I'll share a little story about how important it is to be clear in your communication. In my early days of doing personal injury, I got involved with doing expert witness testimony as well. And I ended up doing.
But you muted him.
Oh, shit.
Just say something.
Miles, go ahead and sorry, unmute yourself.
I guess you muted. You must have muted me.
No, it was accidental. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's all right. So where did I leave off? Where'd you hear?
Go ahead.
Start of the story.
Started the story.
All right. So the story is this. I was doing some expert witness testimony in the early days of my practice. And I was representing my patient, and we were, in jury and all that kind of stuff that you typically do when a case goes to trial. And the clarity of my conversation or my testimony led to something that I never expected, and neither did my attorney, the patient's attorney expect. So the case, the case is settled and the patient wins and all that. And about a week later, I get a call from my patient's attorney saying, "You'll never guess who I just got a call from." And I go, "What? Who, patient, what's up?" She goes, "No, the judge gave me a call." I said, "Well, why? What's up? Why the judge give you a call?" "The judge wants to come see you as a patient. Like, the judge loved what you had to say. And And I said, wow, that's incredible. And the judge came in to see me. I ended up taking care of the patient, the judge as a patient for a number of months. And I asked the judge, why did you come to see me? You've obviously been doing this a long time. You've overseen many cases. I'm sure you've heard testimony from many chiropractors and experts over the years. Why me? I'm very curious. And one of the things that drives me is understanding what drives people's behavior, what drives a person to do the things they do. And I'm always asking questions. Why are you doing this? Why did you come in? Why are you still here? And I asked the judge these questions, and it really came down to, as he said, you're the first one I've heard give clear testimony and I understood it. It made sense. And I educated, basically. I spoke to the audience, to the jury, and obviously the judge is listening to all this in a way that made a lot of sense. And it resulted in him becoming a patient. And it goes to show you how important clarity in your communication is. And I can't emphasize this enough, that it must be clear, concise, to the point, not full of a lot of gibberish. And I bring this up because you have as Jeff brought up, you have an untapped audience right now, that your patients, if they had clarity around your ability to help PI patients, if they had that clarity, you've all heard this say, one new PI patient's obviously going to pay for all of this stuff, right? Just one, right? So I don't want to, you know this already. I don't need to teach you that. So you're obviously here because you're interested in getting more PI patients. And we know when it comes to people utilizing your services, marketing is key. And I know in the PI world, we're all about getting new ones all the time. In fact, not just the PI world, in chiropractic in general, we all have a heroin addiction to getting new patients. Exactly. Well, yeah, right. We're all like, where's my next new patient? What do I need to do that? And that's fine that we get new patients, but your biggest resource of new patients, quite frankly, is your existing patients. Your existing patients are your best. And Jeff did a great job of illustrating that's who they are. And the beautiful thing is, these are people you already have a relationship with. Now, whether you focus your energy on just that existing patient utilizing more of your services, maybe you have a cash patient or an insurance patient that eventually becomes a PI patient. And how do they know you do PI unless you're marketing that to them? Or you're marketing to your patients and then their brother gets in an accident, or they know someone, as Jeff already well illustrated. And the key here is Jeff's done a great job, and I've seen a ton of material out there, a great job of building content for you to market to your community. The problem is he was handing this content to the doctors. And like a lot of things we buy, it sits on our shelf until we figure out if we're ever going to get to it. Like, how many of you have bought a program and it's sitting up there and you never did anything with it, or you started and never proceeded? Because it's a lot of energy and effort to get it done. So when Jeff and I connected, I said, let's get your doctors using this stuff. And we found you got to give it to them ready to use. You can't just give them the materials and say, all right, here's the materials. Now go build the system. Jeff is a system builder. I'm a system builder, but I know in general, most doctors, you just want a doctor. You don't want to be building systems. So I'm going to show you what we did is Jeff graciously shared his information. We then put it into our system so that it becomes, now it's literally you don't have to do anything. You literally just put a patient's name and email in and you're off and running. What is the system before I get into this? It's a consistent series of emails. Now, when it comes to marketing, there's lots of things we know you do, whether it's your Facebook ads and your social media, whether it's postcards you're mailing to patients, whether it's your newsletters, all these things you do. One of the easiest things to do is an email campaign. And it's practically no cost to you. Practically no cost, because it doesn't cost anything to send an email other than having a membership to the service that provides that service to you, right? You're paying a fixed fee for that, but then you're sending out these emails and it's automatic. I remember when I was early in practice, this was many years ago now, asking, like, we want to market. And this is when email was brand new, when people didn't even know what email was. This is back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we started collecting email addresses back then, where 1 out of 10 patients had an email address. But we did it because we said, well, it's free, right? It's easy to collect an email and send them messages and start this process of dripping emails on them, a drip system over time, emailing people and educating them. Now it's obviously a common thing. There's Constant Contact, there's Aweber, there's Infusionsoft, there's all these programs, there's MailChimp, there's all these programs out there that are designed to let you do email-based marketing campaigns. Well, reason Jeff and I partnered is because we provide that service, but we're now not just providing the service, we're actually putting the content in there for you. So you don't have to build it. So it's really, you literally can get started immediately. You don't have to take the time to build this. So I'm going to share my screen for just a moment. And this really is pretty straightforward. As I share my screen, what you're immediately seeing here is we are logged into cashpractice.com. That is a program that, just so you know, today I don't practice. I retired 10 years ago from practice, and I'm a CEO of a software company called Cash Practice. And our software platform provides 4 major components. One of those components is an email marketing platform. That's what you're looking at right now. It's one of the 4. And in this platform, it allows you to set up campaigns of emails. 1 email a week, 1 every day, like whatever you want to do, but it comes with a library pre-built for you, so you don't have to start from scratch. So literally Casey or Andrew or Don or Michael or any of you right now, if you were to sign up for this, you can literally today be sending the emails out to the attorneys and to your patients. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to hire someone to build all this for you. It's already done for you. Where I'm at right now on the screen, as I kind of just jumped to it, was in our Drip Ed system. You'll see here, Drip Education. I'm in the library. That's where I'm at right now. That's the page I went to. And in the library, you'll see here, Smart Injury Doctors 52-week campaign for attorneys. So attorneys, it could be used for medical doctors. It could be for any kind of professional, professional that you want referring to. And you assign this campaign to that attorney or to that medical doctor, and it will automatically send these emails out to that person on your behalf. You set it once and you forget it. And literally for the next year, you have content that's already been done for you. It would literally probably take you a year yourself just to come up with the content. And Jeff's done such a great job of building out this content, plus having it in the system and automates it for you. As an example, as I click on each of these, you'll see what these emails look like. Here's an example of one. Okay. And I know in the formatting, let's show here another one here. As you build this out, here's a good example where they're customized, where it goes to the patient's name. It has your clinic information. Everything's been done for you. You could also, if you are so inclined, or you want to go in and edit these emails or customize them or change some of the language, you're welcome to do so. You don't have to use it exactly as it is. If you want to go and say, you know what, let me go through these and let me tweak it a little bit, feel free to do so. In essence, though, we've done the work for you. You get a copy of it, and you're off and running. So here you can see how many emails there are in this series, a year's worth, 356 days, a year's worth of emails, 1 a week for 52 weeks. There's another campaign in here for your acute patients. Okay, so your patient gets an injury, they come in for care. You want to start educating them about the need for their care, about all the, there's things you want to educate your PI patients about, so that when they conclude their PI patient case, maybe they transition onto wellness care. Maybe they stay on as a maintenance patient. So this educational process is I don't need to teach you this. As chiropractors, generally, we are pretty well versed in the need to educate our patients. Chiropractors, I think, are some of the best patient educators out there. What I'm getting at here is you have a system here to automatically do it for you. You literally just plug in the patient's name and email, you assign it, and you're off and running. And these emails will go out to the patient, educating them. And I will tell you this, quite frankly, as a company, Cash Practice, I mentioned we have 4 systems. The reason we have 4 systems is because we've identified there's 4 key components to patient retention. There's 4 key elements to building a relationship with a patient that causes them to stay with you and not leave. And I mentioned in my story earlier about the attorney, and I mentioned I like to understand what drive people's behavior, what gets them to do the things they do. And I did a lot of study back in early days in practice, and literally asking patients, hey, you've been here for a year. Why are you still here? I'm really curious. What drives you to be here? And we distilled it down to 4 things in interviewing all these people and doing all this study. And in those 4 things, consistent, frequent contact with your patients is one of the 4. And I'll be frank, it's not even important what the content is. It's great to have content, don't get me wrong, but what's important is that you're in front of them regularly. Frequent contact. It's one of the 4 components of retention. I'll just briefly mention the other 3, just so you're like, well, what are the other 3? You have to have frequent contact, which is what we're talking about now. You have to have forecasting of care, which means patients know what they're signing up for. You must have frictionless payments, where payment processing is super easy. There's no friction in it. And number 4 is you need to have feedback. Patients need feedback on how they're doing. Write those 4 things down, the 4 F's: frequent contact, frictionless payments, forecasting care, and feedback. Those are the 4 key components of retention, and frequent contact is what we're discussing right now. The frequent contact of getting your name basically in front of your patients and in front of attorneys on a regular basis. It's like the old saying, the squeaky wheel is what gets oiled. You be that squeaky wheel. You be the name in front of them on a regular basis, so they're always thinking of you. And we just made it really easy for you. That's all we're saying. Really, the takeaway message of this program we're doing right now is we've made it easy for you. And Jeff already kind of set this up. Like, he sells a $6,000 program, which is not what we're not pitching that right now. But the fact that you sell a program that expensive and it includes this stuff for you to go do the work, whereas literally anybody, even without buying your program, can join this for as little as $49 a month. Literally, that's how little it is. For as little as $49 and get access to these emails right away. Like, literally this afternoon, you could be doing this if you wanted to. So really, that's the main thing I wanted to go over with you is share with you guys that if you want to expand your PI practice, we have PI content. In addition to that, I assume most of you see other patients that are not PI. I'm sure you have a cash portion of your practice. You probably have an insurance portion. Like, you have a variety of people you take care of. And I will tell you, we have all kinds of content in here. I'll just slowly scroll. Let me go to the top, actually, so I'm not going backwards. As we go through our library, like, we have a campaign on foot levelers. We have one for functional medicine. We have one on, maybe you have patients who are infrequent users of chiropractic. We have one that's called the New Patient 6-Week Lesson Plan, which is an email campaign on subluxation and chiropractic in general. We have another one that's a wellness-based campaign. That's all kinds of things like bedwetting and neck pain and headaches and things that are not PI related per se, but are just general wellness things you want your patients to be aware of. We have one, a Move Now, for those of you who are familiar with Todd Pickman's program. We have one that's all kinds of nutritional stuff that was provided to us by Orthomolecular, the nutrition company. We have all kinds of content in here for you to utilize and market and educate and be in contact with your patients, so you're at no loss of material. It would literally cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to hire a copywriter to create this stuff. There is tremendous value in all of this material, even birthday cards and just simple things like that, where you can assign a birthday card to be automatically sent to your patients every year. Just really fun stuff as well. So the library, getting back to, let me get search again, SMART. Here we go, our SMART injury program. So we have our 2 main campaigns in here for the SMART injury program. So literally for that $49 a month, not only are you getting Jeff's program, but you're getting a whole library of content. So with that being said, I know some of you are going to say, well, how do we do that? Again, I'm not here to necessarily close a deal or pitch you or anything like that. But for those of you who are interested and you're curious about, hey, I'm interested in doing that, simply contact us. You can go to cashpractice.com and let us know that you were on this program. You can book a let me actually just show you than saying it. You can go to, make it easy for you guys. If we go to cashpractice.com, right up here, you see the name cashpractice.com, and click on book a call. If you want to get a demonstration of this, and you could literally have a demonstration from one of our team members. Just mention that you were on this program and just say, I was on the Smart Injury program, and they know exactly where you're coming from. And they'll go ahead and show you, answer your questions, show how it works. If any of you are like, nah, I just want to sign up for it and do it right away, just go to the Join Now button and you click on right here, the Drip Education System right here. That's the one you would choose. And that lets you sign up for that program. And you could literally, by the end of today or this afternoon, be actually sending these emails out. So Jeff, I want to just pause here for a moment and see did you have any questions, or did you want me to address anything else? I know when you invited me on, you had a specific, you wanted me to address a specific thing, and I want to make sure I nailed that for you.
Yep. No, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. So doctors, this isn't like a pitch fest. I'm not trying to make this a pitch fest, but what I am saying is that this right here is a key. This image that I showed you, these people that are in your clinic right now, that have been in your clinic, they are the key to any relationship that you want to build. We spend a lot of time coaching doctors how to make sure that they're doing this. Automating the system was the difficult part. And it's one component. It's a big component, but it's one component. So it's one of those things where I look at and say, there's no way, right now, if you're a Smart Injury doctor on the program, we are promoting internally, go sign up for this, or go make it, go get it from Cash Practice or make it yourself. Now, here's why. If possible, it's always best to be first to the market. So in the future, and it's not going to hurt your business relationships, it's not going to hurt at all. you will have other doctors using these materials, right? That's not going to hurt. It's just going to strengthen your materials. For example, we have a company called Spinal Kinetics. I wish there were 10 other companies in the market because it would just make our company stronger. A lot of people think competition makes you weaker. It really doesn't. It just gets people to understand more and more of what makes you unique. But that being said, this is the kind of stuff where you want to go out, you want to spend $49, and you want to start using this stuff right away. If you need to modify it, modify it. But start using it. Start using it, because this will permeate. Anybody that gets aggressive and starts using this will own their market. And that's the key. So that's the part that I wanted to just end with. I'm also going to end with any question and answers, but I'm going to get a member of my team to come and figure out how to unmute everybody to make sure that we can do that. So at this point,
Jeff, I'll say everybody can unmute themselves if they want, individually, if they want to speak. But I will say, unless you have blocked that permission, I'm not sure.
go ahead.
I was going to just say this. Listen, email marketing is not a new idea. I mean, it's been around now forever now. It's not new. It's just a question of whether you're doing it. What gets in the way of people doing it, quite frankly, is just the time to set it up. Once it's set up, it's like anything. Once you have a system set up, it's easy. It really becomes easy. So, if any of you are hesitating, I don't know what your hesitation is, but the point I'm getting at is that this is like what we do today is get emails on a regular basis. And again, keep your name in front of these people so that it's easy for them to know. And like I said, with our system, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So,
okay. Anybody have any questions? If you got any questions, just unmute yourself. Andrew.
Yeah, just a quick one. This $49 thing, that involves all of the programs that he just demonstrated, right?
The $49. And let me be totally transparent with you. I don't want to be any surprises. There is an onboarding fee. I didn't mention. I want to mention it's $200. So just so you're not surprised by that. That gives my team the resources, quite frankly, to spend a lot of time with you at the beginning to make sure you're up and trained. Right. So there is an onboarding fee so that you're not surprised by that. And then it's $49 a month. It's month to month, and it does include everything. So you're not signing a contract that you have to stay for a year. If you do it for a month or two and you don't like it, you can cancel it.
And it doesn't matter how many emails you send out, like
correct.
50 attorneys or 50 MDs or whatever, it doesn't matter. Once you set it up, you send it up.
You send it. You're not limited on emails. What you are limited on is, depending on the membership level you have, is how many patients or attorneys or contacts, think of it that way, that you enter in the system. So for the $49 a month, that includes up to 500 contacts. If you want to go to 1,000, it goes up to, I think, $69. Like, it goes up a little bit in cost as you add more contacts.
Okay. All right. Good presentation. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying
By
that.
the way, I just wanted to get a comment because I've been reading about you a lot and stuff like that. American chiropractor and everything. So he's always there. And
someone reads my stuff. That's great.
No, I'm glad you're out there, because I'm too lazy to do this. But thank you,
Andrew.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Now's the time to ask. I'm happy to answer.
Now's the time to ask.
Yeah,
even if it's on something else in the system.
Yeah, I have a question. This is David Cole calling.
Hi, David.
Hi, great presentation, Jeff, and also Miles. My question regarding this email campaign is this. I had signed up for different kinds of programs in the past, and one of them included this email campaign. But my the open rate was only like 1 to 3%. So what's going to make these people open up that email that we send them?
What was the open rate?
1 to 3%.
Okay, so the open rate.
I should send a monthly newsletter.
Let me handle one aspect of that.
Okay,
let me handle because it relates to the injury aspect. So first of all, David, on the patient email, like what your staff says and what you say should get 100% open rate with your patients.
Oh.
Okay, so if your patients, if nobody has any idea and you just put a patient into an email sequence and it's like, oh wow, what did I get? Maybe they open it, maybe they don't. So in our program, we teach the doctors how to make that a significant communication factor that they're talking about, right? Because we also teach there's things that you can do in your consult, in your exam, when you're referring for x-rays, in your report of findings, in your re-x-ray, when you're getting imaging reports back to the patient on your final release day, there's communication tips that will generate you a lot of referrals. and they're all tied right into that email sequence. So you're just reinforcing what the email sequence is already enforced. With your attorneys, it's the same thing. It depends on how much emphasis. Hey, if I just going to put an attorney in, yes, their open rate because they don't know me may not be much. If I've done a presentation with the attorney and I tell them, look, I'm going to give you 52 weeks of very pertinent information. You're going to get it every Monday morning or whatever, and look for it. Your open rates are going to go up. Go ahead from there, Miles.
Yeah, I'll say a couple things. Number one is I'm going to guess every one of you attending right now responded to an email. You each opened an email. If you didn't open that email, I'm going to guess you're not in this webinar right now. You're not on this live presentation. So obviously email works, otherwise you wouldn't be here. To specifically your question in regards to open rates, that's a subject that two things will impact that, I believe. Number one is how good are your subjects? If your subjects suck, you're going to have terrible open rate. Open rate is directly tied to the way you do subjects. So we always suggest experimenting, meaning you'll send out these campaigns, and if you find certain ones are not getting good open rates, you may experiment yourself with just changing the subject of that email and seeing if you get a better open rate. If you have a good open rate, but then you have a link inside that email that you track and you find people aren't clicking the link, well, that doesn't mean your subject is bad. That means the copy may not be great. So you may do some experimenting yourself when you actually send these out and see what kind of response you get. But the other thing I'll say that's actually probably more important is, Jeff kind of led to this, is like communicating with your patients that you're sending these emails out. I'll go one step further, is that when you tell them you're going to assign them these campaigns, that you're going to end up randomly asking them questions about them. Let the patient know that when they come in, hey, I know I sent you that email on Monday, and you're going to know, because when I say you can see when you assign a patient or an attorney, let's say a patient in this case, to a campaign, you could see you can actually see a report that shows in the campaign which emails they've gotten and have they opened them, when did they open them. You could see all of that in one quick little report. So you can literally open that up on your screen while a patient's there and say, hey, I've sent you this campaign. I see there's 10 emails that have gone to you, and I'm curious, you haven't opened a single one. Can I ask you why? And let them answer you. Or, hey, I noticed you opened this one out of the first 5, not the others. May I ask you what caused you to open that one email versus the others? Well, let me ask you, in that email, what did you learn? Like, you have a conversation. It's the thing I think is a mistake most of us make, is we think the one thing we do is like, I did it and that should do it all by itself. And it's not. It's a piece of the overall process. Absolutely. It's one cog in the wheel. So if you're going to do email, well, I'll give you an example. Let me give a perfect example. In my practice, totally separate from email, but let me just use it to illustrate it. We had TVs all over the office playing educational messages. And every week, the theme of that message changed. Every week, it was a different series of different series of TV messages. And we had even a TV in the bathroom. And I know that was probably the most popular one to look at, because people would come out of the bathroom and they would ask me questions about what they read on TV, because they were sitting there staring at the TV, right? Nowadays, they got their phones, but nonetheless, they were standing. Okay. In addition to that, we had a weekly handout we gave everybody, and that handout was on the same theme as the TVs. We would also do an email blast that week with the handout with the same theme, in addition to all the other stuff we did. See, it was a coordinated effort. And with your email campaigns here, you need a coordinated thing going on. So if you're sending a campaign out to your patients that's on PI, and you can I'm not saying every visit, but maybe once every week or two, you open up, like, what emails have they opened? And then just have a little conversation with it. Hey, I noticed you opened that one email. Did you have any questions on it? Like, that email, if you remember, it talks about this. Or just, you hold them accountable. The best way I could say you improve open rates, you can apply this to anything. I'll give you one more example to illustrate my point. I'm sure you all give your patients home exercises or home therapies to do, those types of things. And getting patients to follow through is sometimes challenging. So in my own practice, when I gave someone a traction unit, let's say, to use at home, a cervical extension compression traction unit, those foam triangle type things, so many doctors would give those, or a Dental, let's use a Dental, and they would give it to the patient, and that was it. Like, they gave it to them, right? In my practice, I made it a point every month during the progress exam, bring in the traction unit, show me how you're using it. Show it to me, because I'm going to progress. I'm going to change what we're doing. And by having them show me, I held them accountable, because if they couldn't show me, I knew they weren't doing it. And all you do is hold people accountable, and you'll get better follow through. So I know it's a long-winded answer to the question that was asked regarding open rates, but you will improve open rates if you hold people accountable to what they're receiving. And all it takes is 1 or 2 times asking them a question about it. And they don't want to show up generally and be like, no, I didn't open it. No, I didn't open it. Eventually they're going to be opening. And is it a perfect scenario? No, it's not perfect. It doesn't solve every problem, but just the accountability will improve that. So there's a lot of pieces to it. It's not just, hey, I joined this program. The open rates aren't great. Well, what else? There may be some other things going on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Dying to know.
Right. Okay, so what I'm gonna finish with, first of all, Miles, thanks for doing everything that you've done.
Yeah,
Thanks
you're
for
welcome.
building these in. I mean, like I said, we're gonna be promoting, but this is now a common promotional piece. Doctors, if you're in the program, great. If you don't have the automated email sequences set up, go spend $49 and start sending them out to patients today, because of exactly what I showed you. The doctors that do, it permeates through your community. It really does. And it seriously can help. Plus, you want to be first to have those messages starting to permeate through your community. And for $49 a month, if I've got 50 attorneys in there and I'm spending $49 a month, how much am I spending a month per attorney? $1, right? Now, if I got 20 patients that I just signed up, I'm spending 50 cents to have communications going out all over this.
I think we need to raise our prices. I think we're giving it away too cheap.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
You sold me, Jeff. We're going to raise everything. I put a link to the website in the chat to make it easy for you guys to just click on.
The other thing I want you to know is that when we bring out and we say, hey, go to Cash Practice Solutions, I don't get a kickback. I don't get money back. Yes, they'll put in their program, hey, if you want more information about Smart Injury Doctors program, here's more information about it. So that it's not something I'm promoting. I'll promote the hell out of it because of the effectiveness and how quickly you can get these materials working for you. So doctors, if there's no further questions, Miles, I appreciate your time. I appreciate again what you guys have done. Doctors, go to Cash Practice, hit the learn, hit the, hey, I want a demo. If you want a demo, or if you want to actually just buy it, but start using it. Get in there and start using this. It's especially today, in case you haven't noticed, gas prices, food prices, everything's up. Doctors are going to have to be a lot better business people in order to do what they did last year or the year before, or, if you had a down year in COVID, but you have to be a lot better business people, and communicating with your public is a huge resource that you need to tap into. So doctors, thank you very much for your time and attention. And we will see you on the next, we hold webinars all the time on different subjects. We'll see you on the next webinar.
Jeff,
everybody.
thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.